Sweet Science Brothers coming to you live from NYC. Got good news for you guys today. Excellent news. I was on BoxingScene.com and they got an article. And it's official, man. Andre Ward is going to be fighting Sullivan Barrera. And man, I'm excited about that fight right there. That's going to be great. This is good news for everybody. This is good news for boxing fans. Good news for Ward fans. Good news for fans of the light heavyweight division. And good news for the light heavyweight division in general. You know, having a young, hungry lion like Sullivan Barrera getting a crack at a top-name guy like that is something that's not happening enough of in boxing. This fight is incredibly significant. Like I said, once again, I'm incredibly happy about it. All of you guys should be happy about it. Finally, we get to see Ward fight somebody who actually is like a threat. And Sullivan Barrera is a Cuban up-and-coming light heavyweight fighter. He's knocking guys out. He's a badass. He's a beast. Just check out his fights. He's really good. He's an incredible threat. And what's really significant about the whole thing is that, you know, Andre Ward, he moved up to the light heavyweight division. And everyone, you know, everyone who's trying to push an agenda, they're always trying to say he was forced into doing so, which is completely false. The reality is that he couldn't make 168. That's why he fought his last fight at a catch weight of 173. You know, that guy was a blown-up 168-pounder, and he fought him at a catch weight. All that inactivity that Andre Ward had, it had a bad effect on him. He got bigger. He got a little older, and he got a little bigger, and he can't make 168 anymore. He could squeeze down to the weight possibly, but in an unhealthy way. And it's totally natural. Even Carl Froch, you know, he ducked Gennady Golovkin when Gennady Golovkin wanted to fight him. And then, you know, 6-7 months later, he told Gennady, like, I'll fight you at 175 or a catch weight of 173. So, you know, he was in the same era as Andre Ward, and he also can no longer make 168. It's the natural progression of a fighter. You know, as you get a little older, it becomes a little more difficult to make the weight, and you know, typically fighters move up at least one division, sometimes even two. So it is what it is. My point is that Andre Ward couldn't make it, and he was fighting at that catch weight, and now he's finally, you know, having a real fight at 175 and fighting somebody who's a real threat. And, you know, I'm happy about that. Everyone should be happy about that. If you're an Andre Ward fan, you should be happy about that as well, because, you know, Andre Ward can showcase his skills and beat somebody and get props and, you know, actually have merit for being on the pound-for-pound list at all. Because, you know, he's on the pound-for-pound list as number 4, according to Ring Magazine. And Floyd Mayweather and others were saying, oh, it's racist, he should be this and that. Well, let me tell you guys something. He shouldn't be on that list at all. He shouldn't even be number 9 or 10. Why should he be on that list exactly? Explain to me why Andre Ward should be on that list. Like, what has he done in the last 3 years? Absolutely nothing. He doesn't even belong on that list. He's number 4. I mean, look at the guys he's above, you know, and look at what those fighters have been doing in the last 3-4 years, you know, and then look at what he's done. He's done absolutely nothing. So how is it justifiable to have him at number 4? Because in your illusionary mind, he's still the best? Well, we don't know if he's still the best. We don't know if he still has the same skills that he had previously. We don't know if he's on that level. There's no proof for that. That's all, you know, speculation. Until he steps in the ring with deadly killers that can actually beat him, or that can actually hurt him, or that can actually test him, and then he beats them, we can't say he's the same Andre Ward from 2011. You know what I mean? He's not the Super 6 Andre Ward. You know, if he beats Sullivan Barrera, you know, and then he goes and fights another good guy and then eventually beats Kovalev, then you could say he's pound for pound the best fighter in the world, number 1. You know what I mean? But, you know, up until then, it's like, listen, he don't get to keep the same status that he had before. Andre Ward was kicking ass and taking names and he winning that whole Super 6. And, you know, a lot of people hate on Andre Ward. You know, I do. I'll tell you straight up, I do. I do hate on Andre Ward, but he has mad skill. I can't knock his skill. It's just that I felt like most of the guys in the Super 6 tournament were overrated anyway. Arthur Abraham is garbage. I think all the elite fighters can beat the shit out of Arthur Abraham. I think he's overrated. Kessler, when Ward beat Kessler, it was like the most dirtiest fight I've ever seen in my life. Like, Mikkel Kessler, first of all, was a top draw in his country and a pretty good boxer, solid B-level fighter, and he already got spanked by Joe Calzaghe, but that's another story. He went and fought Andre Ward in his hometown, but this guy in his country, he draws huge crowds, and gets a lot of money. He flew all the way to America and fought at an empty stadium in Oakland, and he got robbed by a biased referee and biased judges. And you know what? Andre Ward, he repeatedly elbowed, headbutted, clinched, headbutt, elbow, cut this guy in both of his eyes, and almost ruined his whole boxing career. The guy had vision problems for like a year and a half and had to like leave the sport in general. That's how badly Andre Ward did this guy dirty, with elbows and headbutts and clinching and all this dirty ass fighting. And he might have been able to beat him without all of that. So I just thought that was so brutally, it was such a dirty fight. I'll never forget that fight. And, Alan Green was garbage. He didn't fight Durrell. The only real top guy he fought, and he's like a B plus fighter. He's not really an A. He's like a B plus plus. He beats all the B level fighters, but, just Carl Froch. That was an epic win. I like that. I take nothing away from that victory. He did what he had to do. God bless him for that one. But the thing is, even Carl Froch, it's like, he was getting beat by a washed-up Jermaine Taylor until he knocked him out in the 12th round. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. That was an epic win. He got that win. But, I don't give him credit for the rest of the fights didn't mean anything to me. And, even Chad Dawson. He fought Chad Dawson at 168. Chad Dawson was the light heavyweight champion of the world. You made him, it wasn't even a catchweight. You drained him all the way down to 168. The guy was completely drained. Never been knocked out in his professional career. And, Andre Ward is not known for any kind of punching power whatsoever. And he got a knockout over this guy. Not to mention rumors of Edison Miranda. He knocked out Chad Dawson in sparring. Concussed him very badly. And they didn't report that to the commission, and that was during his training camp for Andre Ward. So he was knocked out badly and concussed in training. That's the rumor, but I read articles about it. I don't have the links. I couldn't find them. I tried last night to look for it, but it is what it is, But he got knocked out. But even if that was speculation and rumor, Andre Ward has no punching power whatsoever at 168. So for him to be knocking out a bigger guy like Chad Dawson, the guy was completely drained. Had he gone up to 175 and did that to Chad Dawson, that fight would have meant something. Or if they met in the middle, I would have been not as good, but it would have still been like, okay, they both met in the middle. But, you drained Chad Dawson, straight up. So for me, I'm not impressed by I'm not that impressed by Andre Ward. Everyone thinks he's the second coming, no, he's not the second coming. He's not that good. He's very beatable, and everyone says he cleaned out 168. He never cleaned out 168. He didn't fight Boutte, who had the belt. Then Boutte ultimately got knocked out by Carl Froch. But just because Carl Froch knocked out Boutte doesn't mean Andre Ward could have beat him. It just means Carl Froch has a hell of a chin and a hell of a punch, both of which Andre Ward does not possess. Anyway, he didn't fight Boutte, who was a champion. He also didn't fight former gold medalist DeGale, who he's been ducking for years. He didn't want to fight DeGale, so he didn't even clean out 168, really. So, anyway, I don't want to go bashing Ward. He's a great fighter. He's got lots of skill. It's just that he's not as good as everyone's making him out to be. Like, he's the second coming and all that. it is what it is. I'm happy that he's fighting Sullivan Barrera. This is a fighter that's very dangerous. If he beats Sullivan Barrera, that means something in the light heavyweight division. I'm very impressed with his choice. And more importantly, okay, him choosing Sullivan Barrera is a clear indicator that he is going to fight Sergey Kovalev. He's serious about fighting Sergey Kovalev, despite the fact that he signed an agreement to fight him. 2 different agreements, mind you. I still was skeptical about the fight happening. But with him picking Sullivan Barrera, I feel a lot more confident that this fight is going to take off. Hopefully it will happen in 2016. I'm still skeptical about it happening in 2016, but either way, I'm very happy. It's good news. This is Avi coming to you live from the Sweet Science Brothers. Like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.